Well, happy Saturday, folks. The real Captain Kirk here. We're live from One Bethlehem Plaza here in downtown Bethlehem here on the 18th of October, Saturday. It was started off a little cloudy, but blue sky day here. A cool morning, 38, going up to 70 here. A lot to talk about here today. Get the U.S. and world 2-week outlook here toward the end of the video, but a ton of stuff here to cover today. We're actually going to be at the DOMO AI Connections Tour here on Tuesday in New York City. It's a free event. Link here. Still time, I think, to sign up. Again, I think they have several hundred folks attending. So again, should be a neat AI data conference, and we'll talk about our 360 app solution that we have in the DOMO platform. So again, it makes year ahead planning for seasonal merchandise by week, by store, by warehouse, by anything, a year ahead everywhere on Earth. So it's a pretty cool technology. It's our power of one, how small changes in weather are having huge impacts on seasonal sales here. So let's quantify this, how every 1 degree change is either better or worse. Again, so let's look at the Columbus Day weekend here. So the 10th through the 13th, so 4-day period here. U.S. overall was 5 degrees cooler than last year, so that's a lift on those fall seasonal categories. Let's look at New York City here, where it was 7 degrees cooler, coolest in 13 years for that Columbus Day weekend. So again, chart above here, we've got fall apparel would say 7 degrees times 5 for fall apparel. Power of one is about 35% lift just due to the weather. Coffee up about 14%. If you remember how cold and stormy and nor'eastery it was here that weekend, again, definitely was thinking more coffee, say, versus your Coke or Pepsi or your beer, right? So allergy obviously down with all the rain, and paint, obviously can't paint much, down 14%. Sun care, there wasn't any sun, so down about 49%. If you look up in Vermont, actually, where it was warm and dry, actually they had a flip-flop, more benefiting some of those late summer categories versus the fall ones. Even out in California, coldest in 4 years, Sacramento 9 degrees colder. So huge lifts in seasonal sales just because of the weather here. Look at Q3 here again, just about in the history books. We got 2 more weeks here, but looks like we're going to trend just a hair cooler, 0.3 cooler than last year. Coolest in 5 years. Now that's still 9th warmest in 40 years, so above average. But again, coolest in 5 years. So it's a positive trend, not a negative trend. We started off exceptionally well there, and Labor Day weekend when it was like the coldest in 33-something years. So it was 6 degrees colder nationally, and just a huge lift in early seasonal sales. Trailed off a bit here as we got into October here, but now some good news here with a cooler, wetter pattern here, hopefully to round out the quarter. We are day 139 of the hurricane season. It's only 43 days to go here, so it's officially now been actually a average season. It's probably where it's going to end up, maybe a little above average here once we tally it through November here, but 12 named storms, 3 major hurricanes, again, all out in the Atlantic, more toward Bermuda. Watching a system here down here. Now, this one's interesting because some models have been hinting at this coming up the East Coast, more of a Sandy-like scenario. Again, that's not totally in the cards right now, but right now it appears the greatest threat appears to be somewhere in the DR, Puerto Rico area where it could just sit for a few days. So we'll see. This could be the 13th named storm. Some models are predicting somewhere around 40 inches of rain in the DR. And maybe upwards of 10 toward Puerto Rico. So something to watch for sure. And again, the track is still very much uncertain. Speaking of tracks here, again, this year, 2025 has been an East Coast. We expected kind of more of an East Coast threat as opposed to Gulf Coast threat in the year ahead outlook. And that's pretty much what we had here. Again, last year was all in the Gulf, pretty much 4 major landfalling events versus this year. No hurricanes hitting the U.S. yet. Bermuda for sure, but skirting the East Coast, we've definitely had the winds and the flooding impact in terms of waves and beach erosion, but have not taken a direct hit. We'll see. Droughts end in flood, and we definitely have a lot of drought here in the Northeast, even parts of the interior Mid-Atlantic. So we always say hurricanes will end those droughts in the fall, so we still need to watch here for the next month and a half or so. Severe weather is winding down here. Again, it was a dry fall, driest fall in over 40 years. So again, not a lot of activity. So tornadoes are down about 13% last year, held up a hair, 1%, and wind cases up 2%. Have actually a little stronger system here coming through the south central U.S. and moving into the mid-Atlantic here this Sunday. So again, a little bit of uptick in potential severe weather here. Not much beyond that. Starting to talk snowfall trends here. So again, it's early, obviously, but this is the fall season right now. And the big winners have been out in the Pacific Northwest, Rocky Mountains. Sierra got pummeled here this past week. So up about 300%, over 500% year to date for this 1 September period. But again, pretty much all in the high mountains area, not where a lot of folks live. Looking at our season to date, 32 degree days and snow index here again now since 1 August. Not a lot of freezing temperatures just yet. Again, we may pick up some of that here in the latter half of October and for sure into early November. But we're down about 27% for last year on those cold 32-degree days, and second least in 40 years. So not a lot of freezing days just yet. Snowfall index, well, it's up 3, most in 3 years. Again, it's just pretty much, this is more of an index where people live, population-centric, not the Rocky Mountains, really. So again, an uptick, some, but again, this should definitely pick up some steam here as we get into the winter season. Recapping last week, world summer here, ending today, so week ending 18 October here. Here in the U.S., about 3.3 warmer than last year, warmest in 9 years, third warmest in 40 years. Again, a little misleading here because we actually had that cool part of a Columbus Day weekend here, which is, again, part of this Sunday period, Monday period here. So that was the positive, and then a warming trend. 32-degree days, again, down to about 56%, least in 20 years. Wetter, I haven't said that very frequently this fall. 88% wetter than last year. Still 10th driest, but again, at least wetter. Real cold spot maybe over there in Europe. Europe cools in 4 years. Russia coolest in 9 years. Even Brazil cools in 3 years. Hot spot's going to be there in Australia for their spring, warmest in 7 years. But again, U.S. was one of the hot spots across the world here. Maps inset left are the trends versus average. Big map here is the trends versus last year. Looking at this week here, week ending 25 October here, about 2.7 cooler than last year, coolest in 3 years, still 14th warmest, but the trend is cooler, so that's a positive, and actually below average temperatures throughout the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic. Map at bottom left there is the trends versus last year. We'll start tracking the snowfall index, not much yet here, again, where the people live, maybe in the high elevations, but not where the population is. Precip trend, again, up 297% wetter than last year, most in 4 years, 19th wettest in 40 years, so above average, slightly above average. So this is maybe a sign of things to change here. Again, we've been in such a dry pattern. We'll take it for sure here in the Northeast. 6-day snowfall outlook through the 23rd doesn't show much. Again, some lingering snowfall, but the big event that we just had this past week is winding down, and again, so just some very high elevation snow. Look at next week here, getting us the first 1 of November. Hard to believe here. So this is Halloween week. Again, this is kind of a downer. Again, we don't want to see all this wet weather. Kind of limit outdoor decor and candy sales. Last-minute candy sales tend to peak, tend to have a huge surge here the week or two right around Halloween, obviously. So this is a little bit of a downer, again, with the rain for those categories. But still a bit cooler, 2.2 cooler than last year, still 4th warmest. But again, from Texas into the Northeast, pretty much cooler, much cooler than last year. So some lift in fall seasonal sales, and the rain definitely helps as well. So again, rain up about 26%, about just a little bit below average there. So aggregate these 2-week trends here across the world here. Again, general theme, a little misleading here. Again, big map here is trends versus average here. So warm across the U.S. and Canada. But again, if we look at the map inset left there, it's actually eastern half of the countries. Quite a bit cooler, and the west is actually starting to warm up relative to a year ago. Still cool there in, say, Central Europe and the UK. Again, map inset left are the trends versus last year. And aggregating all the rain and snow across the world here, again, generally starting to see some above average rainfall here in the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, parts of the plains. So we'll take it. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week ahead here, and we will talk to you again this time next week.